ductile iron chips of greatness. Let's go make some more. Rough the outside shape of the part, we're coming in with a 2.5-inch drill, and you may remember this drill, we nicknamed it Godzilla in a previous video, but we're going to come in and just drill a hole straight through the center of our part. Now the reason that we're doing this is so that we get good chip evacuation when we go in and start roughing the ID of the part with our end mills. TE is hands down my favorite end mill on the planet. I could probably go up to a 90% step over, but our second end mill is sticking out quite a bit, 4.5 inches. So I want to make sure that we have a good stable process again and we actually make it through the roughing without any incidents. Now before you guys start telling me how terrible this tool sounds, keep in mind that it's sticking out 8 times diameter and then it's in a 7-inch long shrink fit holder. Add to that, we're going to be cutting with the center of the ball, and that's just the way this thing is going to sound. There's no way around it. So you can see as we're getting deeper and deeper, again, we're watching our holder to make sure that we're not gouging the face of our port, because we're gonna get awful close to it. Tool paths like this is where steep shallow really comes in handy. By setting our steep shallow properly, we ensure that we stop short of when our holder is actually gonna hit our part. All right, now that we got that area cleared out, there's only one more spot where I really know there's a ton of excess material left, and that's inside here. So for our final tool path, we're gonna come in with another OptiRest. So looking at this tool path, you can see how my spindle orientation is looking at these yellow lines. So we're coming in at this angle, and then we're gonna rough out everything that we can reach in there. By coming in at this angle, I'm making sure that my spindle face isn't gonna be down here hitting my chuck. A lot of times you'll find that just by putting maybe a 10 or 15 degree tilt, you'll be able to avoid all different kinds of collision problems. And boom, just like that, we have our part in a fully roughed state, ready for us to start doing some semi-finishing and finishing. So everywhere that had a big chunk of material now is within 50 thou or so of the finished part. And I wanted to mention, you know, throughout my career, I've heard a lot of people talk about how 5-axis work is some of the most complicated stuff on the planet. But you can see what we did here is all we had to do was rotate our planes around and then just create tool path like we normally would on a simple 3-axis machine. So don't be intimidated with 3+2 or full 5-axis work, because what it really does is open up a whole new world of machining freedom for you. Where a part like this would have taken maybe 60 operations on a 3-axis mill, we're able to do it here all in just one. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure that you catch the final video on this part where we start getting into the finishing, because there's gonna be some super cool 5-axis motion and some more little tips and tricks that we have to teach you. So please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.